Hey everybody, Keith Dotson here with an action-packed video for you this time around. In the next 12 minutes, we'll see spectacular waterfalls, creepy crawlies, a replica Moonshine Still on an actual moonshine site out in the woods, and also in the woods, a very old cemetery with a war hero, butterflies, and much more, so stay tuned. Up first in our list of curiosities is this old cotton mill, which opened in 1892 and operated for only 10 years before its wheel and turbine were washed away by a flood. In fact, the river below, the Caney Fork River, is notorious for washing away mills, bridges, dams, and all kinds of things. It resists being tamed by mankind, apparently. The old cotton mill building is now owned by the state, and there's been some talk of restoring it, which would be really cool. As you can see, the mill is precariously close to the road, so walking around it takes a little bit of care. It's on state property and it's owned by the state, and there has been some talk of restoring it, which I hope that happens. It would be really cool to be able to go inside. Across the street from the old mill is this sort of a fairy tale looking building that's actually a spring house. It has a little dam behind it that collects water from a natural spring coming out of the mountain. It was associated with the mill at some point in time. I'm watching this little guy go juggling across all the rocks and sticks. See the little guy getting in front of him there? Mother Nature has no sense of right away. I'll go up and take a look at the spring house, which is called Spring Castle. And you see me looking at things like uprooted trees and things like this. You see me checking out potential photo candidates. And sometimes, of course, I'm just curious. Now it's time to move on to our next area of exploration. This path takes us back in the woods to the site of a former Moonshine Still. I don't know the history of this or anything else about it. They put a reconstructed still on the historic foundation there. So let's decide to hike out and check it out. Of course, Tennessee's famous for whiskey because of the groundwater, I suppose. I know that's why Jack Daniels is where it's at, because of the groundwater. And now we'll go deeper into the woods to visit an old cemetery. Cemeteries are a fascination of mine, especially old historic ones or particularly creepy ones, which this is not all that creepy. I also don't know much about the history of this cemetery, but I do know that John Cunningham is buried here, and he was a veteran of the War of 1812, which is pretty interesting. Here's a headstone for James T. Gribble, died 1922, born 1836. And his wife, Sarah, born 1840 and no death date. From those stones, we go to these stones at our next destination. This is downstream from the other waterfalls we saw at the beginning of the video. It's called Twin Falls. The water, believe it or not, comes out of caves at the top of the mountain, cascades down over all those rock ledges. If you watch my videos, you know that I hate this kind of bright, contrasty light, but in this case, I decided just to go with it and embrace the contrast. Then going further downstream, we find this placid swimming hole. Cottonwood trees in the water. The Cottonwood trees are really shedding the fluff, and I've seen this, of course, every spring, but I have never been anywhere where it's so much cottonwood fluff in the air. Cottonwood trees release this fluff, sometimes called cotton, after pollination. And I didn't know this, but cottonwood trees are the same as poplar trees. They're the same tree. Look at all that blowing in the air. Our final treat for this video, a little congregation of swallowtails. For some reason, interested in this river mud. I'm not sure why. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to visit my website, keithdotson.com.